stock of the day, thought we'd take a look at Transurban. In the news this morning, ACCC is opposing Transurban's Eastlink acquisition proposal. The competition watchdog says the proposed acquisition of a majority interest in Horizon Roads would substantially lessen competition for future toll road concessions in Victoria. Horizon Roads is the only other private toll road operator in Australia. ACCC says Transurban, if acquired at the company, would then operate every single private sector controlled toll road in Australia. Transurban first signalled a potential opportunity to acquire the stake in February when it noted some investors were reportedly considering a sale of their respective interests. Michael, what do you reckon of the ACCC's decision and the impact on Transurban?
Look, I mean, it's a slight negative, but you know, I think at the end of the day, to be honest, I wouldn't be investing in a stock like Transurban.
Anyway, right.
Yeah, so you know, people look to Transurban as a dividend payer. It only pays, it's like 4.1%. Is the yield.
Everyone says toll roads, great income producers and a great hedge against inflation. So this is the ideal time to invest. You're saying that's a myth?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you're getting a dividend which is pretty much equal to what you can get in the bank. So you're carrying company risk unnecessarily. So what you find is, I mean, from my perspective, I want a stock that can also get a bit of share price appreciation as well. Yeah. Now you get that with Transurban when interest rates are on the way down, because suddenly 4% yield is much better than 1% in the bank. But when they're equal, you're just carrying the company risk. So I think in this part of the cycle, it's the wrong time to be going out and buying a stock like that, because you're not going to get the capital appreciation. So what's the point? Look, in the shorter term, I think that, you know, this business, it's trading at the bottom of its recent trading range. I could see a couple of indicators on the chart that suggest after today or the next couple of days, it'll bounce back up a bit. So I'd say if you're holding it, it's a hold here, but you'd be able to get back out at better levels, and I'd be looking to redeploy those funds into something a bit more cyclical. Okay,
so sell on the bounce back up.
Yeah, sell on the bounce.
Okay. Shawn, what do you reckon? I still can't understand the accounting of these things. The old auditor in me can't quite fathom how you can pay dividends and make profits out of revaluations and debt.
Sometimes you got to keep things simple, stupid. You know, and if you go much beyond that, it can get a bit too hard, as you obviously at times find.
Yeah.
I think there's a couple of extra parts with Transurban that Michael didn't mention, and I agree with everything he said. I might not for the next hour, but I do on that front. Yeah. But I think we are very close to peak inflation, peak interest rates, which again Michael touched on before. If that's the case, if bond yields track lower next year, Transurban will improve. So I think as it is near that support area, for people that want that safety yield play, and it is a pretty average yield, but then again, you know, there's a lot of the high yield plays, say for example in the resources space, come with some more inherent risk. Right. But there's another wild card here, which I don't think is getting enough airtime at the moment, is the population of Australia is set to go berserk. Yeah. You know, people are saying now, forecasts are saying we're going to be 40% higher in 2050. That's a huge amount.
Just 500,000 this year, new migrants, isn't it?
An average 300,000 a year right into 2050. Yeah. So it brings with it huge amounts of problems, as we know, when it comes to housing, which we'll talk about later. Yeah. When it comes to plugging the hole in the skilled labour area, but where they're going to live, we can't have all these big tents. But they're going to travel on the roads, and Transurban will slowly but surely get more revenue that way. Yeah. So it's a very slow play. It's not a big play, and it's not one that I'm going to be jumping on, because there are better ways to play that population growth. But I think it's part of the dynamic that one should take into account. If you like a very quiet, I don't want to say boring, but it's on that word, boring sort of investment, I think with interest rates near peak, with the population growth about to come, Transurban's a neutral to a slight buy for us.
Slight buy?
Around here.
All right. A slight buy and a patient buy.
Yes.
Put it that way. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Buy into dips maybe.
Yeah. All right. Let's